What is going on, everyone? It is Thursday, January 16th, 2025. The dog is back and he is groomed. And you in a good mood, Rocco? You want to get going with some stocks? Yeah? All right. So as always, we'll go into the SP, a quick overview, and then we'll go into the single stocks today. A lot of focus today on Texas Instruments and Apple, which we'll look at. They were both down about 4.5% apiece. Big movers, and I brought along several, actually, some really fun charts, some names I haven't even heard of, and are really, really tearing up and down the charts. So without further ado, let me pull up the screen here, the doc. Let me see if you can see that. So that was a pretty good explanation here. Here, Apple, and I guess that's all encompassing Texas, the Cowboy, Texas Instruments, and Apple is really a bite got taken out of it today. Texas Instruments and Apple here both lower by about 4.5%. And then we're going to look at a machinery company called Symbotic, I believe it's called, a bunch of other. But first, as always, we'll start with all-important SPY. A lot of people were like really freaking out, over the weekend and such, with the market, the weakness of breath, et cetera. I said you have to give a superstar symbol. And for me, really, the S&P, we did fill the Trump gap. Before we go into that, just really fast, some big movers in the mega cap world. Tesla down about 3 1/3%. Apple, we'll take a look at more closely at the chart, down 4%. Taiwan Semi reversed that trend. It was up 4%. And United Healthcare down big 6%. Unfortunately, these fires in Los Angeles is going to really cause some premiums. And the insurance sector has been not trading super great since the tragedy happened. So United down 6%, a big mega cap loser today. So really fast on the intraday chart. Here's the intraday chart. Begins right here. Low volume today overall on the SPY. It was decent trading all the way till about that European close, and then we got a sea change. We were trading above VWAP up until about 12:30, 1 o'clock, and then it changed. They really started from turning into buyers to sellers, and then we actually hit a low at the 4 o'clock hour at 590 under VWAP, that orange line right there, about 592.5. So not really stellar trading in the afternoon. As I zoom out here, as I said, this is going to be a messy environment. I still see about a week or so for sure of turbulence. I see us doing a lot of churning right around this 590 level in SPY, which is the 21-day exponential moving average, and then give or take, I do expect this 200-day moving average to hold. Like I said, so people were complaining about the breadth and everything. That usually does happen. Look at this everlong strong bull market, and we've had that argument at least 2-3 times. Like I said, we've had scary sell-offs, drawdowns, corrections like this. You had it back in August, although that was catalyst-driven for the bottom that got brought out through Yen-Mageddon. And then prior to that, you also had a scare in April, which was really just more of an acceptance of the the higher for longer, which is kind of where we are here with TLT making ever present 52-week lows. I don't think it did it today, but I'd have to check. But the thing's been sinking with rates going higher. Anyway, so I see, as I said, SPY going plus or minus, pretty much frustrating people, but staying within a tight range. I see us trading more or less around 590 to the 570 support should hold down here. Again, what I was saying before, we have filled in the election gap. We came all the way through, and that price was discovered. So what that happened that evening, November 5th into the 6th, we've now actually discovered that price and traded in it yesterday. So that's what happened there. It's pretty significant. I think that was necessary for us to move forward. Still see, like I said, a bit of a week of turbulence or so. The bottom probably takes you to about 580. I think will hold in SPY. It's where my cursor is, and it's been pretty strong support, except for that one minor, when we had that scare 2 days ago on the 13th, when we got as low as 575. I think 580 will hold. So in terms of risk reward, 10 points to the downside. And to the upside, I think there's significant resistance at about 600. Even when we had some movers really marching, we'll take a look. I didn't think the S&P was going to print over, SPY over 600. So that's, like I said, that's literally equilibrium. I said 580 to the downside, 10 points below, and then it's going to hit its head on the ceiling at about 600. So that's your short-term risk reward levels. It's really an equilibrium. 10 points down, 10 points higher. That's where we see things. And of course, there are catalysts. There's an inauguration in 4 days for what it's worth, as well as full slot of earnings starting as we speak. JP Morgan was the other day. So there are catalysts. We'll see what happens to finally break us out of this range. But I do see frustration in the indices, at least for like the next week or two, still with that upward bias, but really based at equilibrium. Let's take a look at some of these crazy movers in single stocks that folks were trading today. Okay, and we'll start with the upside first. It was overall, like I said, overall consolidation day in the market, down 20 bips. Vol did end up closing up. Not everything was down, though. There's this company, machinery called Symbotic, up 19% today. Look at this candle. Overall, not a great chart in terms of what these guys do, because I'm somewhat curious, although I look at the chart and I have my parameters. So these guys are a $15 billion machinery company. Looks like automation tech to enhance operating efficiencies in modern warehouses. So cool. As I look at the chart here, and if you have a ticker, put it in there. If you like what I'm saying, subscribe and whatnot. So this is interesting. I love doing this in ETFs. I love doing this in single stocks. Look at this 200-day moving average. It got right to it, and it's today's day one. It was basically able to close above it by 14 cents. And it was up $19. It had this strong week based on this catalyst of earnings in November. But overall, this stock has been a loser. I don't really like owning this since May. It's had a long period of oversold here that got wrung out right after Labor Day at $17, a volatile name. You had a nice move today. I don't know what the news is. I think they actually had a acquisition. They bought someone, rather. They acquired, not being the acquirer. I'm not really certain of the news. I don't really care to get into that. But I think congrats if you were in this name. Nice run. Probably look a little bit more at the headlines to see what happened here. But this looks like resistance to me, and I wouldn't chase this here. And the wick today tells me kind of the same thing. This trade as high as 34. It ended up settling at 32 or mid-range. I'm assuming today it barely held VWAP. Don't love that. Wouldn't chase it here. I think this actually goes towards $26 or to $27 in the next 2 weeks or so. But congrats if you caught that today. Other things that were up big. Estee Lauder up 5% today. A big move. Big loser, though, this chart as well. This one even more demonstratively weak than the other one, than Symbotics for longer. Even though, this low came in November. Really ugly. Estee Lauder, I think they've been having their lunch eaten by, like Sephora and other just competition. Obviously, I use a lot of makeup myself, so I'm a customer. I'm a member as well. But yeah, ugly chart here. Wow. I mean, you can almost count the days it's had above 55 RSI this year. And this was really the bottom falling out. This May earnings. Yikes. Don't know what the news was today. This might have a little bit. I'm looking at the candle and the short-term pattern. This might have a little bit more movement to about $81. Probably not. Maybe 78, 79 right around there. Has potential to go a little bit higher, but this is a really weak chart. Heavy 200 moving average. I think this goes to $75 in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We got a request. Can you see? Okay, I'll take a look at that at the end. Coolio. We'll take a look at that. Maybe I'll even look at some of these. You're asking about we'll see. The next one you're asking, I might have a question about semiconductor. I will put in a semiconductor that was up big today, bucking the trend, up 3.5%. Taiwan Semi, a very important, obviously, constituent in SMH, second biggest actually after NVIDIA. A good move today, up nearly 4%. This thing has a great steady uptrend. If you could buy this around 205, again, the 52-week high is 222. Today we closed at 214. I wouldn't want to necessarily chase up here, but a very strong stock. Scariest it's been, of course, was Yen Mageddon. That's the closest it came to 200 moving average. Never oversold, not even under 32. I know we're nitpicking, but not even RSI under 32. So there's always been a line of buyers, essentially. These concert tickets, if you will, never drop below $32. This isn't, you get them, you're going to see, I'm going to use the example again, but you're not going to see a Vanilla Ice, like a crackhead play for $2 behind a trash can, behind the Sphere or something, So pretty strong line of buyers. This is a strong chart. I wouldn't want to chase it too much. If you get in around 203, 205, that would have better risk reward, because my near term target is right around 222. So chasing upside from here, not amazing advice. All right, now going to the downside. So they weren't all absolute winners today. So we opened the program with saying Taiwan Semi and Apple were the big losers down. Let's take a look at this. This is a scary looking chart. This is Texas Instruments, a very important company and stock, TXN. So this thing has topped November 8th. Okay, so of course that is election day week. And we topped at 220 then. We closed at 187 today, down 5%. Keep in mind the 21-day exponential moving average for this is 192, and the 200-day moving average still rising. So think about that. The velocity for this has risen so sharply off the 52-week low last February from 155 all the way to November to 220 that it still actually has a rising 200-day moving average. That being said, however, this is only one close above that. I'm not even going to honor that as a revival. To me, this chart really was on the clock right here. Okay, we have another question. We will look that up. A lot of semi questions, and I get it because they are, the 21st century railroad, so they are uber important. But yeah, so the December 10th for me, not for me, just objectively, this closed under the 200-day moving average for the first time since April. Should not be giving you warm fuzzies or even, oh, this name's on sale, maybe I should hop in now. You should start really having your risk management sense say, let me chase this worst case later once it gets its footing. This has not been able to do that. I think around the 192 level seems to be a decent-ish monthly level of support, but I do see this name. Like I said, I don't love the semis right now for the next 2 weeks, depending on the name. But this looks like it could go lower to about 180. It had a big plunge today. I believe, did they pre-announce that's what this was, earnings? I'm not even sure because I have a little carrot through my data provider that says the earnings are Friday. Maybe this was it today, but I'm not even certain. But an ugly looking chart here. Like I said, December 10th, the clock started for May. Usually it's like an important 6-week test. That would take it to about, the end of January. Got like another week. And it was close. It had it as of yesterday. Right now it's at 195 and it's $8 below. I don't think it's going to be invoked for the next, 2 weeks. And I want to see where it's at. But there's better semi names to be in than this. The big granddaddy of them all, one of the largest companies in the entire world, Apple down 4% today. That is ugly. That is quite ugly, especially for a name like that, which is why I came up on the multiple standard deviation list for it. Apple looks, weak here. I'm going to do my performance check here. You looked at SPY, you get those big, deep discount sales, 3 times a year in terms of the correction that we're in. Apple, in terms of the drawdown it's in, coming from its all-time high of 260 the day after Christmas. Now we've immediately slipped to 230, an ugly candle. Surprised they didn't really step in today. It closed near the lows. I think this will base. I thought this was actually going to hold up around, 235 level. So to be honest with you, I thought that was going to hold, and we sliced right through it. The rise 200 moving average still holds as your support. Never, and again, think about the superstar. We all know Apple. The last time this was really a dog was March. There was a time that you can get this on sale, and this thing was a loser. And it was this period from March to April. This thing was not performing well. It was in trading 160s, 170s. And then right after here, with this overbought characterization, what happened? A stabilization of 200-day rising, 200-day moving average, and more overbought conditions and new all-time highs. So you put that qualitative and quantitative data together. I do think this is a buying opportunity. Honestly, I thought if you get it under 240, you're getting it on sale. I like it under 230. I think this ugly candle, short term, maybe goes lower, potentially tests that 220. You go back to these November lows, but I don't think more than that, to be frank. I do think this is a good buy at these levels, especially if you're willing to stomach some volatility. I think this gets to 245 it does have resistance at 245 around this level, but I do think your new term, target by, let's say, early mid-February, 250 is not crazy, and then probably stalls out there. All right, spent a lot of time on that one. Next one, the banks are reporting U.S. Oh, that's not right. U.S. Bancorp, a big mover lower today. Down 5.5%. Ugly. 52-week high for this came on November 27th, Thanksgiving week, $54 a share, and today $48. I'm sure these guys did not have the most pleasant stuff to say, as I assume they reported today. Yeah, they reported this morning. Yeah, don't love it. Usually, banks trade interesting on their earnings. Usually, they're up day of, and then they give it all back by the close. But these guys never even had it to start. Overall, good looking chart. Really has had its legs underneath it since the 52-week low on June 11th. Since that $38 handle, a nice steady mover. Never really oversold. Also, you want to keep always pay attention to overbought too, because things can just be listless and just go nowhere. You want to have a rising 200 moving average, several overbought conditions. You want to have your your security really standing out among other constituents in the index. So this name looks decent. I don't love it for the short term. Next 2 weeks or so. I think this actually trades lower, even from here to potentially around $46 even. Still holding that 200 moving average, but I do think you'll get this a little bit more on sale to about 46 in the next 2 weeks or so. All right, top three again. How much are we doing on time here? I feel like I'm blathering. We're doing all right? Okay. I will get your questions at the end, Gaston. Thank you very much for them, and I will get to them. And if, as you predict, NVIDIA went to 130. Are you giving me flowers? Is that what that says? You giving me flowers? I'll take flowers. I think that's what you're saying. I'll read in a second. Top three gainers of the past 5 days, because I know people chase performance, as we all do. Ionq up 38%. Oh, he was giving me flowers. Peace, respect. So Ionq up 38% in the past 5 days. Absolutely bonkers. Up 5% today alone. This was actually one of my favorite names last year. And then I got away from it. This is before, to be honest, I even cared about the whole quantum computing thing. This thing has really, really taken off since the end of September. Really gotten even more charged with the Chinese stimulus. This is an ADR or out of a Chinese company, and they are pretty large in size now. They're about $8 billion of a very small revenue, about 35 million. So very small, rarely gets oversold. You had some ugliness here on the 8th, literally took the stock from $55 to $25 in one day. And that was based on this century's Leonardo da Vinci. Jensen Huang saying that quantum computers are about 30 years away, or 15 to 20 years away. And the whole quantum computing space went down literally 25 to 50% in one day. Right now, what it's done is it's basically retraced half. If you put it's a 9-day 50% Fibonacci, we're at the exact 50% mark. So all that being said, you have to place this in terms of levels. It'd be great if you could scoop this one on volatility and get around $30, but that even seems difficult. So you got to be more realistic. The 21-day exponential moving average is $38. That's probably not an awful place to get in. And then if volatility continues, it's going to be interesting to see if we can get back to what he said before those comments about the valuation of names like this. So we'll see if it can. This is why this is an important point. But yeah, I would not think it's insane for 47 to be, 45 to $47 to be a target in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So high flyer, it's up 40% for goodness sakes in the past 5 days. Something a little not as crazy, but still moving hella fast is CEG, or Constellation Energy. This guy's acquired a utility company. I think it's the largest utility deal in history. And they're up 29% in 5 days. These guys actually IPO'd or came public a couple of years ago. It was a split offering. And I know because I actually owned the parent company, I believe it was Edison at the time. So in terms of this, you always have to be cognizant of levels. Of course, they also bought this firm, so they're going to grow through that and obviously have synergies and reduced expenses, and it's going to bolster these guys. If you could buy this under 255, I don't think you're going to get that chance. Looks like this train has left the station. Great looking chart. Didn't even close under the 200-day moving average here. An amazing chart. This is absolutely stellar. Scary moments here in July when it got oversold a little bit there, but absolutely looking good here. You could have a reversal, though. I see a bearish divergence in that we have new all-time highs in terms of price, and the RSI is not even scratching 70. So I do think, and this is going to be a good call, you will get a pullback. It's going to be 2 to 3 weeks, and it probably takes you to, I'm looking at prior levels of buying. People are still in line. That was over here. It takes you to support there. Probably pulls back potentially to about, 285 is not that crazy. But I would say probably there is a good place to nibble if you can at 285 in CEG. All right, and then one, of course, the inauguration is 4 days away. Trump media, I mean, this is probably just a simple calendar play that people just wanted to buy this before the inauguration. But this is up 23% in the past 5 days. It was flat today. This thing is running. I haven't actually looked at this in the longest time. Yeah, this has had a nice run from like New Year's Day, right, or New Year's week, right here around the 3rd, from about $34, and it's run all the way to $40 here. A huge day on the 13th to 43. It might have a little bit more going into the inauguration, probably around $42, $43. I think makes sense. Where's my cursor is, and then I think you do get a bit of a sell-off, a pullback to about 37. But worst names than you could be in. It's been holding the 200-day moving average decently since about a month and change, about 6 weeks. Decent, and holding a 50 RSI since a month before the election, actually. So if you're okay stomaching the volatility, there's definitely worse places than you can be in. Wouldn't want to chase it here, though. Woo, woo, woo. All right, movers lower. Top 3 losers of the past 5 days. Then we'll wrap it up. Ftai. I know a lot of people trade this stock. This one's been getting hit hard, down 28% in the past 5 days. Look at that candle, for goodness gracious sakes. So 52-week high right here, Jan 10th. And in case you guys don't know this, these guys are a $12 billion aerospace and aviation leasing company. These guys hit all-time highs or 52-week highs at 182 on the 10th. And my God, it just on the 15th, it went to 91. So you always got to be careful with this stuff. In terms of right then, I would have said, obviously look at the chart, nothing but overbought, except oversold here the week before Christmas. And then a single trade, the only day of trading where it got below the 200-day moving average, it was yesterday. I'm not sure the news, maybe it was delivery numbers, I don't know. But yikes, that is quite a move in one day, trading from 160 to 91. The 200-day moving average, look at where it's just, that's not just, coincidence. The 200-day moving average is at I'm rounding 116. We're at 120. So that is a good level of support. I still think it continues to hold, and this is a volatile name. I do think jumps and rallies will take you to about the 145 region, but it's going to take time. I think it might take another month for it to get back there. It's a crazy name. I do think it sells off and stays between 115 and 150. It may not seem like it's saying a lot, but for a crazy name like this, it actually is. The average true range is $11, for goodness sakes. So pretty crazy stock. So that's what I have to say with that. You could, if you want to get really, in the weeds with it, you could sell, butterfly. If I was convinced about this, because you could get paid with the volatility, I could do a butterfly and I could sell those wings. In fact, I know, or I think that in 2 weeks, it'll land between 115 and 150. I don't know. I have to check the risk or reward or something like that. It would pay you on a name like this now. Okay, 2 more. Signet Jewelers. Not good. Down 24% in the past 5 days. Yikes, down 4% today. Oh, my goodness. This name used to be a hit. Signet owns like a lot of the jewelers, K Jewelers, whatever, all the ones you see for commercials. A lot of them are owned by these guys that hit their highs in June at 112. And you can see like just almost like a rainbow here. Just a clean rollover, the 200-day moving average, and really just ugly to a 52-week low 2 days ago. The stock hit $54. Yikes. So a big drop lower. Your second biggest loser this week. I thought this would base around $68, to be frank. So again, the low here prior was $73. The 52-week low was $72. I thought it was going to go right around here, eclipse it, and then go to 68. Things were uglier. I don't know if there was earnings or whatever happened recently, but this is just nothing but oversold. There's been folks trying to get out of this and saying, here, take my tickets. I don't even want to go. It's not worth starting the car since December 18th. And now you have a ugly 18 RSI. This is just not good. I'm guessing rising costs, lack of demand, maybe people buying those, what's it called? The jewels where the people, the kids don't have their arms ripped out, the clean jewels, whatever. I can't find the words right now. But anyway, this looks ugly. If you do get a volatile bounce, And it's crazy that it was overbought and really had animal spirits in September, but not so much anymore with heavy resistance at 106. But yikes. Yeah, I think bumps along the way, rallies can take you to about 74, but I would not play for that. That would scare me. And the last one we were talking, or for this, I will get to your tickers, Gaston. I hope I'm saying that right. Moderna. We talked about this last week. We said this thing's a dog. I don't want to chase it. We were talking about it. This was a good call, and that's why you watch this program. Rocco just sneezed at me. So this is why we were talking about this. I think, I'm not sure if it was that recent or that long ago, but this thing had ran. Actually, you know what? I do have it in my notes. Hang on. Un momento, por favor. Yeah, this thing had ran from December 20th. Okay. And then we had said, do not chase this on January 7th. It was right around January 7th, right around here. I said this thing probably is not going to make a run towards the 200-day moving average of 86. That thing's in the heavens, essentially. It got to the top Bollinger Band, getting across its moving averages, the 21-day exponential, and the 50-day looked a little heavy. The bands still weren't widening. And then look what happened. A 52-week low followed just after. That's why you got to be careful with these dead cat bounces. That's just a dangerous thing. From 39 to 47 to 31 all in the span of a week. So I do not want to chase this. I think it will stabilize around $33 around here. So I don't want to liquidate the heck out of it. But and I do see the next bump, the rally, I keep on saying bump, but the next rally, well, I believe will get to about $39, $40. And that will be a sell trigger if it gets to $39.40. That will be your acting signal. All right. Thank you for being patient. Oh, yeah. So really fast. Top 3 trades of the past 5 days. If you're along Ionq, crushing it, up 38%, congrats. If you're along CEG, congrats, up 29%. And if you're short FTAI, that's down 28%. You got an absolute amazing super portfolio. Hopefully you've all adjusted those crazy movers. All right. Hi, can you see AMAT? Yes, I've heard of it. That is Applied Materials. Is a company in the semiconductors. And you have another one after that. Let's take a look. See. The semiconductors, there's a lot of bifurcation underneath the hood. You got to see what they were involved in. Some are using their semiconductors for, to put it in your air fryer or to put it in your car or to put it in your, headphones. It depends what the technology, where is it being placed. So this chart, ugly man, not a fan, not looking for steals here in a sector that's crushing it. Second best performing area in the past year behind Bitcoin. I'm not going to go for a chart like this. Not interested. To me, the ghost got given up here on October 15th. Once it closed under the 200-day moving average, and then the 200-day moving average actually started rolling over Thanksgiving week, 52-week low. Yikes, came a week ago. I think it's actually a good sell right here. I wish I was closer, obviously, to 190. I think this could be. Are you approaching this long or short? If you could put that in the chat, I'd like to know. I think there's actually a great tactical short right here with a short-term level of 172, and if things get ugly, 160. Yeah, nice. You're short. I like that. I'm long, SMH. This could be a nice pairs trade. Yeah, but this thing looks like trash. So nice job finding that one. I will write down AMAT. And to be honest, this has no business, in my opinion, being above, 180. So I think you're getting this, with points. So see how you're going to do it. But I like this one. I will write AMAT less than 183 short. I like the risk reward there. All right. And J&J, you have 2 more. And Johnson, or 1 more, I don't know. And Johnson & Johnson. So yeah, was that enough on AMAT? So like I said, I think this, I'll just go back real fast in case I was too fast. Like I said, has no business, as I said. I don't think being above here, 180, I don't think it'll hold. And I think this is getting to 172 to 175 in the next 2 weeks. I don't think they're going to rotate into weak names like this. This just doesn't look good. It's impressive. The only thing I'll give it is that technically it's held the 50 RSI for this whole year. Actually since the 3rd, so not even the 2nd opening day. But I just think it looks tired. This does not look like the rebound I want to invest in. All right, next. Yeah, I see it bottoming around I feel like I'm repeating myself. I'm taking crazy pills. And I do think it gets close to, so like I said, first stop 172, give this thing 2-3 weeks. And I think this thing can bottom around 162 new 52-week lows. And you can't say that about too many semis. All right, and you have another one. Finally, Johnson & Johnson. And then I'll just read your comment. As you predicted, NVIDIA did go to 130. Props. Okay, here's Johnson & Johnson. Yikes. Healthcare not been doing good. Some areas are getting rotated into not, biotech. This doesn't look so great. Here for me, my test started on this right around November 25th. And then, you know what? Like I said, it gives it about 6 weeks. That takes me to a mid-January where I am here. And where are we? We're hitting new 52-week lows. Not the scorecard I'm looking for, okay? It's not like I need you to get more points, rebounds, and assists, and you're coming back and you're showing me you come back with no points and 5 turnovers and no rebounds. It doesn't look good. This looks bad. I'm assuming you're looking at this for a short. If you could put in your position or what you're looking to do. I think you got good horse sense, I think, if you are going to write short on this. I like this for a short. I think it's actually as close as possible to a 150 would be great. But I do think above 140, it looks good for sure. And I think this is headed towards potentially new 52-week lows towards about 139 or so. This chart looks bad. And I would not invest in this. Similar, I feel like I kind of know what like the filters that you're looking for with it, because this has a similar rollover like AMAT did. Yes, you're short. Nice job. I like that as well. 2 different areas as well. One's a semiconductor, one's in pharma. One paying a talc suit should not affect the other one going into new 52-week lows. So I like it. The market goes downward. I think this is nicely positioned. This one's pretty good. Johnson & Johnson, obviously a lesser mover, obviously. So give this one more time. Do you have an alternative for Johnson & Johnson long? Healthcare's really been trash. Are you trying to facilitate a pairs trade where you're long one and short the other? Like just pick a strong pharma? Is that what you're trying to do? Let me look. Right. If so, that's what you're trying to do. So definitely, I like short Johnson & Johnson. They're quite the behemoth. It's going to be hard to find something like that, but let me see. Hang on. Let me do this really fast because I don't want to spend too much time. Otherwise, I'll get back and do it. One thing you could do, it's not exactly the same, but you could do Cardinal Health, CAH. It's not exactly the same, but these guys are, in terms of similar movers, this is a $30 billion company, not as big as, Johnson & Johnson. This is a 52-week highs today versus a Johnson & Johnson that made 52-week lows 1 week removed. And this has been holding a 200-day moving average, not rolling over at all, and not oversold since May. So this literally is hitting 52-week highs as we speak. Maybe you don't want to chase this right now. Then again, if you're inputting the position at the same time, absolute moves are absolute moves. So we'll see where you get in at Johnson & Johnson. We said it's a great level. Oh, let me move that box. I don't think this is a great level to get into CNH, so I don't know how you're going to time your pairs trade, but I would love entering this one around 121. To be frank, my target on this is around 125, 126. So it's a little bit stretched, but it is a strong performer. Outside of that, if you want to do something, only other thing I'll say is Gilead. This one's been strong. This looks decent. You're not really chasing. In fact, this has been kind of consolidating since it's put in its highs 2 months ago. So kind of changes on the duration. I don't know how long you want to be in your Johnson & Johnson position. This name, actually, in my opinion, is ready to go. So I think you can enter this one at 91, and you're going to get a near-term target of about $96. It's going to try and claw its mark, get towards this new 52-week high. So I like this one a better fit. And Gilead is a $115 billion company, and I think that's even probably a better fit with Johnson & Johnson. That's still 2x, 350. But I hope that answered your questions. Awesome. That's what I love to do. Okay, thank you. And I will talk to you later. We'll have an end of week recap. And Bitcoin's over 100K, and always go Birds. Peace.